No, maybe I'm 100% wrong with that, but
I think you're 100% right on that.
This
actually,
stage, there's a call it whatever you want, a soul, a conscious, a thing. There is a gut reaction that in me is almost always correct. Where if something comes to me, an opportunity, I know within like a minute, like, heck yes, absolutely not. And not absolutely not like I hate this and this sucks. Usually what I do now, which is a fun thing, is I go, who is the better fit that I know? If it's not for me, who is it for? That's how you create some cool community. When you can start handing stuff off to people who are actually a better fit. That's a different tangent. But learn to say no, because you are creating your business. You are creating a brand. You are creating your quote unquote sound, the unique thing that you're going to be selling long term. If you say yes to everything, your sound can start to get kind of messy and blurry even to yourself. So be willing to say no. Be willing to take the time that is required to build a business. So if saying no to a few projects a month when you're starting out means you still need to work a part-time job, that's totally fine and also normal. So I think that's where a lot of people are in this like hurry up grind mode. And then they maybe even start making money, but you kind of get like a few years in and now your client base is confused when you're kind of like frustrated and bitter and you're like, I just hate working with this person. And then you have to figure out how to basically tell them, hey, go find someone else, and that's never a fun conversation. Or you've pigeonholed yourself into like, I've seen people in Nashville do it, like they accidentally got into country or they accidentally got into CCM records or like indie garage band records. And then that's like what they kind of got accidentally famous for. And they're making records they hate. Like one record did well, so then everybody's like, "Oh, you're like the trap CCM guy." Like, and they're like, "No, I want to make like indie garage band," And the indie garage band guy's like, "I want to make like CCM polished worship records." Like, so you can kind of screw yourself. I've seen it happen where when people are saying yes, 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 and eventually, especially in Nashville, you put enough things out there, something's gonna pop off. Usually, eventually. But then that can be the wrong thing that pops off. And then you're kind of in this weird limbo of like, well, people want to keep hiring me to do this type of music, but I hate this type of music, or it's just not as life-giving. So then you have to try and pivot. And that usually is a hard adjustment of like transitioning genres. So be willing to say no when it's, the no is actually an investment into your brand, and brings clarity to people, of what you offer and what you don't offer.
Yeah, I love it, man. That's something I know I need to work on.
It's hard.
Definitely it's really hard. But, it's like hell yeah, hell no, that whole thing,
It's that.
Like your podcast, we were saying earlier, some people wrote to you and said like, I don't like it when you do that. Well, you know what? This is my podcast. Love it or hate it. This is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, just being you, doing what works for you.
Yeah. I believe that's
you have to eliminate.
A big key to people to just being happy. Once again, it's like your own gut. Like when you are true to yourself, you're happy. And when you're not true to yourself, we all know you're not happy. Like the worst place to be is like successful and unhappy. So make sure you're picking the things you really like doing, even if that means you may not be as successful as you originally desired, or maybe it doesn't mean you make as much money, but you're happy. I can assure you, as someone who's been through all the cycles of that stuff, like I had to spend many years getting back to being happy, and rebranding and retraining people to know what like Mo's mastering stands for. It wasn't always the way it is today. So learn to say no. It's a good word.
All right.
And it's not a negative word. It's a healthy word.
It's a healthy word.
That's
Boundaries,
how I'm
baby.
gonna spin it.
Yes. I love it, man. Well, Sam, it's been a pleasure, as always, to schmooze with you and have you back on the show. Thank you so much for coming back on. What's the best place to find you on the internet these days? Instagram, be Mo's Mastering. Still love Instagram. And then if you want to hire me to help finish your record, www.mosesmastering.com. You can book a session there. But come find me on Instagram first. Let's talk. Let's chat. Absolutely. Well, Sam, thank you so much. And I guess we'll be in touch. Have a great one. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Secret Sonics. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Sam as much as I did. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our other episodes, I'd super appreciate it if you would go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It really helps the show. And if you could share this episode or your favorite episode with a friend or two, that would also really help the show move forward. In addition to that, you can find us on social media. Just search for Secret Sonics. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And you can email me at secretsonics@gmail.com if you have any comments, feedback, guests you might want to recommend, anything like that. So that's about it for now. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe out there and dig in. Bye-bye.